I hardly know how to begin. Sometimes I think he doesn't give a darn about me. He's all I can think of.
Now we should be on push to talk. Oh, do you want to? Hopefully they aren't too loud. How are there? Who is this guy? Decrease their volumes. Up. There's so many voices. So many. What? Oh, I haven't pushed a talk. Hear me? Oh. I might be. I'm not entirely sure. Let me see if I can get this to work. I see that now. Also, I'm just getting my, not my game volume in there. Let's see. Game captured. Let me get me some. Maybe some desktop audio. Audio. I would like my game sound.
Of racism. What am I hearing?
No, no, no.
Yo, only blue
What?
people up here. You can't come up
Okay.
here.
Oh,
That
okay.
might have changed it.
I'll see about that.
Let me know. That might be
Oh,
really
No,
loud.
no. Push them off. Push them off. Push them off. Push them off.
Can't stop me.
How is he so strong?
Apprehend him.
I got the black sash.
God. That's a lot of people.
Somebody's
I like
gonna
my
fall
face.
off.
My face.
Someone's gonna fall. I'm
It's not gonna be
scared.
me.
No, no, I'm stuck in a menu.
Oh no!
Sparko Floridian Zax is high. Where's Spark? Is Sparko
Tell
up
him I
there?
said hi.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
they're kind of
Hello.
loud for me too.
I'm so
Hello.
strong.
We turned them down to like 40.
Is
How
it
do I
coming?
wait? How do I
They're
emote?
got the
so
party
loud in my
I think
ears.
it's
Oh
R.
wait. Yeah.
Oh, there's another.
Oh my.
How are they so loud even though they're at 40? Help.
Mechanic,
Oh,
our
no.
Wait,
beautiful
why am I
kingdom
jump
is
them on
being
the floor? What the
overrun.
fuck? Wait. You can jump on
Where
the
was
floor.
the border control?
No.
Okay,
Okay,
I got
I'm
it.
a,
Do
I'm
we
a,
ha-
I'm a, ju-
do we
I'm
have
a, I'm a
borders?
go. I don't
You
want to
do
be here
that.
anymore.
Look, you can do it.
Maybe there.
Oh, damn, that's crazy.
It works every
That's a cool
time.
strat.
You look kind of
Yeah.
like a Taro character. Close enough.
Really?
We're matching, bro.
Wow.
Knights, did you already tell the embarrassing story about Kais? Did I miss it? Was it
No,
embarrassing?
Oh,
not yet.
embarrassing
God.
Kai story?
Don't listen.
You got a story? What?
Leave it for the
Yeah, you already
climb,
know
though.
what story it is. I told you about it earlier.
Oh yeah, it's the
Is
one
it-
story that you know.
People might not understand what the story is, but when
I'll
we
tell well at
played
least.
Final Fantasy 14, we had a friend group that we were in, and
Oh, it's like VR chat.
basically.
It's sounding familiar.
And
Finally.
so
do
one
it
of
again
our big like
without a
raid
thing on
leaders
my face.
was like, okay,
Oh, you can also change
so
how you look.
when are you getting
Use it
Swiftcast
for it.
2? Because our original Swiftcast is basically just a move that allows you to cast the move instantly. So like if somebody died, you need to resurrect them pretty quickly. You Swiftcast and res. But our other person was like, hey,
Oh my God,
you need to get
that
Swiftcast 2. And
Oh my
Mickey's like,
gosh.
what the fuck is
What?
Swiftcast 2? And so
That's a DFS.
That's
he
right. I
he
remember the
got
story now.
trolled and he was
I
very
remember.
mad for a long time about us saying, hey, where's your Swiftcast 2? So
Wait.
Okay.
Was there no
You're-
Swiftcast 2?
there's no Swiftcast 2.
You're still
There's no
missing
Swiftcast
out.
too.
You're missing a
That's
you're missing
so-
a very important detail
Oh,
here,
yeah?
That is
which is
embarrassing.
so because it's like an early skill you get, and I was like an expansion and a half in without it, and they were all yelling
Oh
at
my
me,
god.
and I was like, fine, I'll go through the slow grind of leveling like another job to get it. And I spent
Oh,
like
is that-
probably 5 or
Okay,
6
classic.
hours in there just suffering.
What?
And
my
in the
God.
dungeon, you can see all the skills you unlock. But because the raid leader was like one of those guys that's very monotone, I thought he was serious. He said, "Oh, wait till you get Swiftcast 2." And like I could see all the skills, and there was no Swiftcast 2. But because I didn't really know him, and he had that tone, I thought he was serious. And I never let him live that
No.
down after that. I bullied him still.
Oh, we're not gonna game
Got
too hard.
He gets targeted
bamboozled
specific word.
in public.
Speaking of which, it's its birthday today.
In a public
Oh, is it?
law?
Yeah. You should
You gotta
remind
let
Only I
him.
not
played
tell him
14.
Happy birthday.
Right.
I don't remember the last
Oh,
time I told him
yeah.
happy birthday.
Try to send
I
a
was
quick
surprised
one.
them with finally getting Swiftcast 2!
Yes!
I finally did it, raid leader.
I don't want to make him proud. I want to murder him more.
Right.
I guess that's deserved.
What was our chant last time?
Something about cock, I
I
think.
don't know.
That's what I
Something
remember.
Gay. Gays on me, something.
Gaze on
Cops
me!
on
I
3.
think it was it.
Gays on 3. Gays on. Oh my god. I don't remember.
It was gaze on me, cock on 3. I think.
Oh shit.
Yep.
Gays on me. Oh yeah, wait, we said cock at the end. It was cock
Yeah.
on 3, yeah. Okay, one, 2, 3, cock.
Cock.
Oh.
Let's go. Let's go get the
It would have
gaze.
been really funny if you were the
Ready.
only one to say that.
Crazy ass shit.
I Loki was worried. I was gonna be the only one saying that.
I thought about it.
Wow, I kind of want my other face back.
That's messed up.
Dude, why am I so astute? Why can't I stop putting my hands behind my back?
Am I the only
Oh
one with the black
my
sash?
Cute little face.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Maybe just
Think
the outfit
so.
or something.
It's the ascent level that you clear.
Excuse me, that looks navy blue to me.
It's
The ascent level that you
raccoon.
clear.
Yeah,
Can I
so
make it
after
to
you
the
Just
top?
like
clear
prestiges.
the first one, yeah, pretty much.
What?
So like the first one, you have you take more fall damage, I think, and then it's like increased hunger, and then items weigh more.
Oh, what the
So
heck?
you have the sweat badge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look so imposing,
That's
Sparko.
unfortunate.
Gotta kill this guy.
That's
This is
what
the
I was
one
going
from clearing with the
Okay,
extra hunger.
You'll do well in the blue community.
for. Well, I'm afraid
I
it
think I'm more
might not last
cyan.
very long.
The sign community.
Ooh, Sai. Sai, I'd love to hear about this.
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Yo, oh
You
shit.
came to the wrong neighborhood.
She's
Hey.
orange.
this-
She's
this-
the complete
this
opposite of
runner-
us.
Dude, why are you like in tattered clothing too? You're not
Maybe.
helping this game.
Where are the blue guys touching
You're
each other
not
over
helping
there?
this.
Wait a
You can't unpress.
Oh no, that's pretty normal.
I can't say that.
No.
That makes sense for blue guys, I guess.
Oh my gosh. Sparko.
Dude, why did you do that to Sparko?
What are
Oh
you
my God.
doing?
He's fat. Oh my God, I
Weird.
saw it.
Turn
Security.
them down
Don't
again.
worry.
Airport security. Surely,
just
surely they
gonna-
care. Surely
I'm
they
just
would
gonna
care.
break my arm.
So loud.
Oh, they'll care.
They're
If you tell them
blasting
she's
me.
orange, they'll care a lot.
You need that.
Don't wait, excuse me? Damn, Alto is crazy. What
I'm
were you saying?
glad Nom caught it. The crazy.
Yeah. He's-
What? What the?
You're right, Sparko.
Who said that?
You're right. I didn't think of that.
I wonder what difficulty we're gonna be on. What the
Wait, that's so
fuck?
perfect.
What the fuck is that? Why? Are you, how?
So stand underneath it and look up and mash E and D.
E and B? E and D?
Or E and jump.
Oh, E and jump. You fucking lied
He's
to me.
dark blue. This is crazy.
I don't feel like I did that right.
Okay.
This is
You did.
crazy.
Oh.
Oh my God, he's also
Welcome to
blue.
the club.
Welcome.
Zach just told me to
Oh my
look
God,
at the
there's another blue
people,
one.
And then he played my voice clip of the same, they all look the same.
It uses less stamina.
Oh, I see. That does look
That's funny.
as goofy.
I got him. Let's go, guys.
Yep.
What the hell?
Also, my
One of the-
volume
one
levels.
of the-
Bring me-
Yeah,
Where are we
yeah.
taking him? Where are we taking him, boss?
Everybody's at like 20-something% for me.
Assimilating.
I don't know.
That's like some
Volcanic
people
leader,
sound
where
like
do we
they're very
take him?
close to being.
What is going on?
Put him on the escalator. Yeah. And like
got you
watch
at,
him,
like,
watch him
200.
go. And then we like get
Oh,
on the
damn.
sides and point
That's
at
a
him
mistake.
and like salute him.
You're pretty quiet, surprisingly.
Oh, interesting.
You're a pretty blue guy. You're a pretty blue guy.
All the blue guys are getting.
What the hell is going? Hello?
Sir, stop resisting.
Oh no.
What do you stop
Is there-
resisting?
Oh, no.
Oh! Oh my God!
Help!
Assault of an officer.
Help!
What the?
Oh, he's in the
He
ground.
resorted to violence and he pushed me down.
What are
Help!
you doing?
Also, I'm surprised you're not purple.
Is there a push to talk or what?
I wanted to be the Kirby look,
There is. You gotta
That's
put it
fair.
in the menu though.
Oh, you can already hear me?
and then
Okay.
I started getting more unlocked.
Didn't know if you
so
could
I was
hear
like,
me.
oh, I like
I'm
this hat.
deep down here.
Go to the escalator. Is this a JoJo reference?
Why is he running
A
so
JoJo
fast?
reference.
What the fuck? He left
What
him out!
the?
There was
Alto,
yellow. I
what are you
changed
doing?
my phone
Skizzard,
to get that.
Skizzard grieved. Skizzard pushed me out of the
There's you go.
map.
What? I'm the.
Skizzard grieved.
There
Hello?
was a check
Find
hat
a way.
Dude,
or
where's he
this hat,
going?
I'm
Wait.
out of
or
here.
the
Oh,
Got the skizz on you.
Get in the plane.
how did he get out of there?
Yeah.
How do you
Wait,
What?
bro, he's
Under
taking
an
the
hour.
plane. He's
It's
getting
from,
out of here.
He's in
the
the
game page, I
plane!
think.
I thought it was modded. Not gonna lie.
How did he do that?
Let me know how the
What did
airplane
you
food
do,
is.
Skizzard?
We got the
What?
Oh my
Bing
God.
Bong cat.
I didn't do anything. I was just
Got so
AFK.
mad that I was
Oh, yeah, the
trying
Bing
to
Bong
grab
cat's
him that he pushed me into
Actually,
the
don't like
ground.
it.
Do you wanna play Skizzard?
What? No, this is my first time.
like
Okay,
and I don't. I wish
You
it
see
was
the
bigger.
wall?
Yeah.
Just hold
Yeah.
left click to start climbing. Right?
I want different
I'm
outfits.
scared of heights.
This is not the game,
Another
man.
one.
Oh, Uh, uh,
This is not the game.
oh. Guys, I'm gonna pee myself.
Not up here.
What?
Not up here.
Is this not the
This
the
guy
restroom?
thinks he's above me.
Guys, it's lonely out here.
I wish you could like pull me through. Wait, can you climb
I
the
wish
walls
you
out
could.
there?
Trash.
Maybe you
What-
could
how
if
the
I
fuck
like.
did you out there? What the fuck?
Try to pull me through the wall,
There's
like
human
Alright,
trash.
where are
with
you?
your hand out. With your hand out.
What human
I'm above
trash?
you. Just reach your hand out towards me.
I don't even know how the fuck he's out there.
Wait, come towards the left side. Come towards the left side.
Can I drop this?
I cannot look at Alton.
Volcanic, no, I'm stuck. I'm caged in.
Does it climb out the window?
Around me.
Oh, what's that book?
Come
Is it
this
a
way,
picture
come
book?
this way.
God, trying to do this on my
Oh.
keyboard feels weird. I keep forgetting.
What kind of pictures? Are you pushing me?
Have shift and jump
Oh.
I think
like
if you
right next to
if
each
you
other
like
on the
right click
thumb.
and pull me, you might be able to pull me in through the wall, but
I
I
gotta
don't
like
know
roll
where.
it.
Hello? Does it work?
Maxing.
Hello?
Wait, Alton.
Oh my gosh!
Come over here and see
It's
if you
him!
can climb anything.
How the
And, like, jump and
how the
grab
fuck
me.
do I?
Why do you look so dumb? Sorry,
That doesn't
that's
look like your screen, actually.
What the fuck?
sorry.
I can see your name, but nothing else. I'm grabbing the wall.
How do you grab?
Also, out of all these
Right
people
click.
here, I only know this one.
What? Then how would they grab it? How are you?
Oh, we were just
I don't-
using
I
our
don't want
password
it.
to
Well, I
grab
do know
people.
Aldo a little bit, but...
You're just under the map.
Wait,
What the
like,
fuck?
We only played a
you see me all the
game,
way on
like,
the
once
ground,
together?
right?
Yeah, I see you on the ground.
Okay.
Why can't I get up there?
I can't grab anything.
I want to get on scaffolding.
You can even climb the invisible. Can you wait? Go to the plane
Why are you
and like see if you can climb the like little box that goes towards it.
Oh, I'm drilling too.
Oh, true.
I'm a drooler. What of it?
Dude, if you can get up to like the same elevation, you might be able to pull me through.
Really can't climb up that? That's dumb.
Back up, back up.
Oh, I can climb this. Volcanic, you're right.
Oh
it's huge.
No violence.
Wait! Come in here. You should be able to come in.
Go ahead, you have this.
It's closed. I'm stuck.
I don't know how many people are supposed to be
Oh,
joining
wow.
us, by the way.
Wait, can you climb up and around?
Let me see.
I'm up and
What?
around.
Do I?
Also, there's so many of them that I
Huh?
can't change all of their volume
If
bars
you can
at
get
this point.
around, you can
What the
try
fuck?
to pull me through.
Wait, what?
Uh-oh.
What?
Now this is on Skizzer.
Dude, this is
Hey,
just
what?
like Zipper Man. What we're about to do.
Yeah, what?
Oh.
I'm a city. I'm shaking for the
There's
city.
no way all of us fit in the helicopter at the end.
Now, for real.
I'm so confused.
Oh no.
Throwing it back.
Seiko just
Oh no!
Following.
I'm stuck. I tried to escape.
Also,
Oh my god!
Oh, he is.
Oh, you're still alive.
He's good at. You are.
I'm
good at
A-okay.
stuff, bro. I don't think you're getting out.
Wait,
of
how do you
this.
emote?
So many people.
You hold R.
R.
I'm out of stamina for
Oh, that's so cool.
mine's blind.
Run away.
He's. Look at the end of where you go into the plane. That little gray box. He's stuck in the corner of the doorway of
The
it.
wall.
Over there.
Yeah, I can't move out.
What the hell?
I had to look at his stream to see him.
Oh, from the outside.
Oh.
Bing Bong
try to play dead out of it.
Airlines. Why the fuck is there a... What do you call it? A plushie for
Wait,
the
Why do you have a
airlines?
crab on your head? Are you a Connie?
Welcome.
Wall, you might be
Yeah,
A
hi.
Kaniki?
There's,
Might be blind.
I'm looking
there's so
at
many
your
people.
screen. No, I'm.
Oh, Skizzard.
Wait,
I'm at the-
hello.
Let me give you some more poison.
7.
not
What?
poison, pointers.
What?
I think we have like
What?
10 people
You
here.
crouch
I
and then
feel
walk
like you
towards
might be
me.
able to see what's in there, yeah.
Throw it back?
Bam.
No, walk into me. You can,
Oh,
you can
oh,
just
walk.
And then you
And you
Oh.
like, grab
Ooh.
grab someone's shirt.
Isn't there
Crouch
actually like
jump,
a,
crouch
Oh.
push mechanic?
and then
What the?
climbing
Kind
is
of.
just like
I know
left click
it's worked
against the
sometimes, but it
wall,
doesn't
and you
seem
can shift
consistent.
I don't know how
I've
to
seen
do
Zentreya push
Oh.
her teammates off in the
Like,
middle of the
You
kiln.
pushed me.
Why do I keep
I
getting
know there's a
blamed?
mod for it as well.
That's awful.
That's
I think
the
she
problem.
has,
where's-
All my
Wait.
stamina's out
mods that play different songs
Oh.
when certain
Wait,
things
Alto,
happen.
come
So,
up
like,
here.
if you
Maybe I can
fall,
pull you through.
It plays some song.
he is good
I
and stuck in
can't
that
get
corner.
there.
Oh,
The
yeah.
problem
He
is I
can't move at all. He's permanently stuck.
Oh.
I'm
I
telling
keep
you.
forgetting that I have the
Yeah.
reactive lighting on my model.
always
getting
reconnect.
confused when I'm like, why is my model blue?
Not when it
Oh,
starts
shit,
to get
true.
teleported.
Oh, okay.
That's fair.
That'd
Come
be-
over here.
Yes.
Come up over here.
Oh,
I feel
God,
like
I'm stuck
my
halfway
audio
through
is
the
so
wall.
messed up.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
What is going on
there's so
over
many
there?
of us that I can't like
Steph,
turn down
stay-
other
stay
people's
over here,
volume.
and then, like,
Okay.
while I'm climbing up, you pull me up.
Yep.
Yeah, you see. it.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. Oh, and
Oh,
you can
okay.
throw items.
Uh-oh.
with you.
Plus the app.
With G?
You.
Q? Oh, I can't throw my password.
Okay.
Yeah, you need that. Oh, a shot.
Everybody, we will be
Throwing that.
starting in like 5 minutes.
Oh my god, there's so many people.
Where's
We got-
Corn?
Too
That's
many
your name,
green
right?
people. We got 2 green
I
people.
think Corn and Fledge are asleep.
Oh.
Fledge may have been gotten called into work.
Oh.
I think I can slowly move
Oh.
down.
Well, call her out of work.
That's
I wish I
crazy.
could.
What if
She
Corn
doesn't-
also
So
thought
many
it was an
people.
hour later? Oh no.
Team Peak.
Wait,
Oh.
Alto! What are you doing?
Almost. We're almost there
I can
yet.
see him
Doing
now.
my best.
Dude!
Oh,
Dude!
One of the guys
Oh my
made
God!
it outside of the
How did you even
actual
get
airport
up?
area over here.
passport. Tech told me to stick my passport out and it worked.
Do it again. Do it backwards. Face backwards. Whoa!
Oh, is this a mirror? Oh my god, this is like VR chat.
Not
Try to-
VR
try to-
chat.
Try to, like, come
Why am
over
I so
here.
angry,
Yeah.
though?
Somehow. I don't know.
Bro, I'm like angry and proud. What the heck? Call me the anime protagonist.
Protagonist.
Oh, that's a JoJo pose right there.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Dude! You're like doing a fucking... Oh my god, he's spinning his head in a 360 right now, bro. What the hell?
Someone go, I need to look.
Wait, don't move,
What
don't
the hell?
move,
Oh
don't
my
move.
god.
Anyone on the call.
Bro, he is riding that terminal like it's a horse jockey.
We're writing it live.
Look at my
here.
stream alto.
Chicken jockey.
No, I knew the chicken jockey was coming.
Y'all gotta come up with the creepypasta now for it.
Bro, you're like a sentry, dude.
Beth, why are you so happy?
He's scanning.
What's not to be happy about? I'm about to see all of my friends die horribly unannounced.
I won't die.
That's awful.
You're gonna be the first one
also
now.
messed up for me.
A mole bed.
Be munching on.
Do base game or Ascent 1?
Is it almonds?
Peppers.
I forgot what
Nut
that
crackers.
was.
Ascent one.
I've never done
Oh,
a scent
Nutcrackers,
one.
normal
Wait, what'd you say?
crackers.
Normal crackers.
Oh, so you're just
that.
hearing what you want to hear.
Oh god, here we go. We're loading.
Where am I?
Oh my god.
God fucking damn it, I'm suing the airline.
This isn't the forest.
Oh, I can move
Oh, I
again.
love the forest.
Yeah, that game sucks.
I love the forest.
Backpack.
The forest, though, the forest.
Oh my god, coconuts!
This is like a proper like amount of people I would expect to come out of the plane, maybe.
Right.
Want me to
Think I would survive a plane crash?
Yeah.
You would.
Oh, thank you. Jellyfish?
Oh god! Oh.
Alright.
Gotta be careful with that.
I thought it was like a bounce pad or something.
Got me some nuts. Let's go.
Now I'm poisoned.
Like an evil creature.
Don't say that about my friends.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did anyone bring Bing Bong?
Yes, I have.
Do we need big bong?
I didn't.
I'll go get Bing Bong.
No, someone already has it. I think I do.
What's that?
Look at how much.
Coconut.
No. I mean, if it happened, it happened. But
I'm not prepared for a peak with like 10 plus people. Most of these people I don't know. Also I haven't done this difficulty yet, so that's kind of scary. Like 3 coconuts are taking up a ton of my inventory space. If I ever go quiet, it's because I am focusing hard.
I didn't push you! Oh, who's this?
that's part of it.
Oh.
I pushed myself while I was trying to push you.
Oh, you're trying to get everyone against me. You are the evil
Maybe
twin.
what's the true story? Yeah,
I think I'm gonna go there. Don't do damage. Yeah. Uh-oh. I need to get rid of all my coconuts. Freak. Good fucking noms. Let me up.
Oh, how do we do this?
So many voices.
Why didn't you
I'm from Stratton, okay?
I don't know. I couldn't tell But if you're not sparking, you should.
Alright, what's the route?
The voices are also messed up. Some people sound closer than they are. How loud they are.
Oh, yellow crispberry.
There we
I
go.
don't know if I go for that. Maybe. I might go for it.
Walk out! Sprint jump.
Bro, I feel like a cave diver.
Like the last bit, you go further.
Is this gonna hurt me?
You can like use sprint jumping.
Oh, okay. Well, this route is no-go.
Hey, I got my black cat.
Oh my god, Beth, you're so smart.
Honestly, can I make that?
So where's our goal at?
Good question.
There's a suitcase up there. I don't think we really need it, though.
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry. I wanted to bring the coconut. No, I needed to eat. And I thought you were leaving that way.
Yeah, we're kind of fucked, resource-wise. But, that's okay.
I'm dead to the
Shh.
Coconut head.
Yeah, come on.
Are you actually dead?
Come on.
Nice knowing you.
Go, go.
Hey, how'd you get up there so fast?
Oh. Should I fuck this guy over? Oh, it's Mickey.
He didn't aim for you.
I see you.
I thought you were gonna keep going down, so I wanted to hit the wall.
How dare you?
Yikes.
Maybe.
Now I'm above you. I have the high ground.
Anakin.
Nate.
Yeah.
Oh.
Will you rub one or double it, give it to the next person?
Rub one out or double it and give it to the next person?
What the fuck?
Wait, Nate, help!
Come on. Jump to me.
I have the high ground. I mean, Anakin.
Okay,
I
just
think
Wait,
what
what
do
is
I
it?
do?
Anakin, don't do it.
You were the chosen one.
You were the
Oh, this is a bad idea.
bit is lit after that.
What the?
What? Oh.
Wait, no. Wait, I'm Walter, I'm Walter.
Come here.
Oh, thank you.
Somebody just fucking flew, I think. What the hell?
What?
I thought I saw somebody like
Would you
fly.
rub it and double it and pass it to the next person?
Double it. Give it to somebody else.
You're so generous.
Yeah.
Shit. Also, would you take 2 rubs or double it for the next person? 2 rubs or double it? Yeah. I guess double it. Like 4 rubs.
Yo.
Kais, will you take 4 rubs or double it and pass it to the next person?
Double it. Gotta always double.
Oh my gosh.
Someone's getting the mega rubs.
No.
Wait, Kais, is that you?
Yeah, you can't trust the names.
Okay.
Like half
That
people
was
say
throwing
City
me off. I'm
Slickers.
like, what? Oh, that has a mod, does it?
I'm not sure. I think it just kind of bugs the amount of people. Even like the voiceless isn't silver one.
Well, yeah, I can't touch that. How am I gonna use that?
Okay, that's cool. Let's go.
Thanks, sister.
Oh. Oh. Someone's already finished the damn climb.
What the fuck?
Zach, are you still watching my stream or should I turn it off?
That's a crazy.
Might be able to make this jump here. Ooh. The amount of people in this game make my shit lag. Please. No. Yikes.
Oh, that's good.
But mine is significantly less better now.
God damn it.
Coconuts.
Yeah, that's what I was about.
Do you choose?
I don't.
I have more food.
I don't know if this is a poisonous one.
I ate one, it was fine.
Yeah, that's the only one the pattern on it throws me off, with it being poison or not.
Wait, I saw a ghost. Who died?
What? I trip. It's on a rock. Oh.
I'm so curious where they are.
I keep hearing Dom's commentary. Grab it.
They're taking it pretty slow down at the bottom.
Oh, are they still down there?
Yeah. Bridge.
Alright.
Actually,
You're the black belt.
we should go across the bridge. I think that's the better way.
Oh my god. Okay.
I'll let you go first.
Oh, you give me the honors?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Nathan's on the bridge, so it might collapse. You better run. Okay.
I'm safe.
Don't step on those. Oh, food.
My keybind for my clips are not working.
They just panicky.
Oh. Wait, why am I taking? What?
They're way down there. The fog's gonna get them eventually.
It reminds me of me on my first climb.
Getting flashbacks to like early Lethal Company runs.
That too.
Oh god.
We couldn't make it past like the first and second quota.
I just remember I forgot to buy Repo the other day when it
Same.
Oh man, you should have.
I really want to play it. I probably will at some point.
I mean, $10 isn't the worst, still.
True. I think someone's at the top.
It sounds like someone's up there. It sounds like Volcanic's up there. Ooh, food.
The echoing laugh is crazy.
Did he knock someone down?
Oh.
Oh. Uh-oh. He might have crashed. Uh-oh. Also,
Thanos snapped.
I would not have shot anybody other than you. I just happened to know it was you.
She went for Blissey.
Except I don't know anybody's colors, because right now it says you're City Shaker, but you're not. Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna click this actually.
Oh. Health. Oh. Okay. So we made it here. Oh, we're not gonna get a special item because somebody died.
You need to tell them to stop role playing. Uh-oh, I think one of them just died. Oh wait, never mind. That's just them pulling up. Hello.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
I thought I saw two names disappear, and I was like, did two people just die?
No,
We
they're
just
right
watched
behind you.
someone die.
We could
Can't
arrange
believe
that.
I died on the first climb.
How
How did you
die?
fall?
I fell like a foot, and then it just insta-killed me.
Oh yeah, that's a sent one maybe.
Dude, I took a hella risky jump, but it paid off because I ended up at a dead end, so I ended up having to jump a crevice.
Oopsie, and we wound up crashed on this mysterious island. Thankfully, mysterious islands are my specialty.
Wait.
With our
let me
whole
stick my-
troop working together, we'll reach the top of the
Let me
peak.
do the gun
and
run.
see
Wait, finish the
what's up in the
sentence!
time.
You stick your what?
In the meantime,
Oh,
I'll take this opportunity
like
to add some
that?
additional features to my famous guidebook, Scoutmaster Myers.
I
Like-
forgot what I was saying.
That, right? Oh, who's that?
You don't even see them anywhere.
What did...
I do think they might be down this side, though.
Yeah.
We're gonna be here for a minute.
Nance, can you tell us Kaisa's middle name?
Shit, I don't even know if I know that. Do I know that?
You do, but I
Shit, I don't
wouldn't be
call people
surprised
by
if you
their
forgot
middle
it.
names. Yeah. Shit. Do you know mine? Mine is so basic.
I feel like I do, but I can only think about your last name because of how weird it is.
My last name's awesome. So.
It is, and I still think it's fake.
Hello,
That's
Nate.
my stance.
Awesome.
Dude. Nate,
You're so
awesome.
close and yet so far.
Leslie, do Alta have a way to reconnect mid-run? Do you have that?
Isn't he already back?
I don't
Do
know.
you think people who work at Lidl would be like
I don't think
really
he
good
is.
at Fortnite? Like they build furniture all the time, you know?
We can hear
Because
them
him
now.
and
What the
someone
fuck?
else.
The people from Lidl or them?
Down.
Work Alto.
People down.
I think they're like, if they're 200 meters, they're probably like right.
Oh, I see
beneath
them.
you.
I see one. You see the little white pillar?
This gives me time
Down
to figure
there.
out my macros. I don't think OBS is as an admin. I wonder if I should.
Alto,
restart it.
no! Somebody told him to use DirectX 12 or whatever. Maybe that might help. Dude, you can kind of do like a little jig if you A and D like Valorant. Look at your hands. I'm jiggle peeking.
Jiggle peek. Jiggle peek.
This is so I
Jiggle
can.
peek.
Bro, I remember when I was like learning that game and I was like, you're telling me I have to shoot at the exact time I change direction and then I quit the game.
Yep.
Fuck
bad.
that,
What did
Lou.
you say, Blessy?
Fucking menacing.
He's talking to someone on the other side. I don't remember the lyrics at all.
I know that part.
Must have tried 1,000 times.
God, they're still down there. Holy shit. Where the fuck? Oh yeah, they're way over there somewhere.
We have just kind of like, who would this be? Like that isn't here in spirit.
Sigh.
No, this one's Sai. This can be someone else. This one's Sai. I can feel it teeming from him.
Does
You wanna see him?
damage recover over time, or is it only with recovery?
I'm back.
It's recovery. I can do
Oh,
And
hi.
also the campfire.
Oh, someone's dead.
It just disconnected me, and then I come back and my body's dead.
You should have dodged.
I know. I should have dodged the game crashing.
You can point as a I can point it as a ghost. I was like, what the fuck?
Dude, Alto! Look!
What?
Look that way in the way I'm facing. Oh no, it's gone!
Okay.
It was a half crescent moon.
Oh.
Total reference, bro. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god!
There's bad apple in the clouds. Behind Conrad.
That apple?
Oh, it's changed.
No,
Oh my
he's right!
God.
Wait, he's
There's a
kinda
bad
right if you
apple in
look
the
at it this way.
clouds.
Look up, you can kind of see the arm.
Oh, I do
now.
see it! No, he's right!
He's
Wow.
I just see
They got bad
crabs.
apple and peak.
Williams.
Crabs.
They got the strong cat doing the bicep move over there too, above the sun.
Wow.
I hate that I can't figure out
Wait, why is there a sun
the
enemy?
stupid OBS hotkey with games sometimes.
You know, I think the sun's a little big today.
Are they gonna make it? Cause I think the fog is getting pretty tall.
Maybe we should have helped them as experienced players.
Nah.
They only made
It's a rite of passage.
Not the campfire.
Oh hey, there's a note here.
Yeah, I threw it at the back
It's
of
the same
someone's
one that I
head.
always see.
Oh, the fog is
Holding this
coming.
for-
I saw the mushroom note.
I think I just saw somebody die. Oh no.
I know there's one at the start. Start in the Cure is the only place I've ever seen notes.
Wait, they're right there. Look, they're right there.
Yeah.
They're right around that corner.
Oh.
Well, I see them three, but actually, where are the others? Wait, everyone's.
Oh my god,
Oh my gosh.
We made
Oh,
it.
there's a group. There we go. God damn. I don't know how many people we have in total though.
I'm waiting for one to be back up there.
Up.
Probably close enough.
Probably
Maybe-
should have done
maybe.
roll call.
Hit the res.
Okay.
Oh.
So mad.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm back.
All this, but like,
You're mad. I'm mad. I made it. I got disconnected.
you know,
There's
it's
so
showing.
many
You,
marshmallows.
you hold it, but don't ever use it. Okay?
You say so.
Oh, oops. I think I.
Sure, I'm
Oh, I'm
cooking
healthy.
someone's marshmallow.
Oh.
Who needs one?
I can cook the energy.
Dude, this looks
I
like
can cook
fucking
the
like some.
energy.
Yo!
Look at this.
Yo, I
He's
got
got-
a well done
Dude,
energy
that
drink.
water
Let's
is
go.
crazy.
That water
find
is
it?
crazy. No, that'll kill you.
Sparkle, come back here.
Yeah.
Where's your
Dude,
backpack?
this is actually such a cool ass climb. I'm gonna take these islands.
Make you come back.
Wow.
Teaming up.
Oh, wait, oh, it's the statue.
Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm going up
Two?
that one. I think this is right.
Oh, it could do
This?
Is that vine going
Oh, that
upwards?
vine. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dipping?
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is right.
Remedy mushroom.
I'll let you carry that.
I don't even know who got the second map pack. Oh, wait, I should probably eat some of those. So don't waste my marshmallows. Marshmallow. Mellow, mellow.
Uh-oh.
Fucking hate the rain.
I mean, it's annoying.
Already fucked over there. That's crazy.
Brain, go away, please, so I can see.
There we go. I don't like how shaky like the movement is. Where it's like bopping me side to side. Jump to
let's
the...
go get that chest.
How are we gonna do that?
Tarzan it. Oh, crap.
Oh.
Don't Tarzan it like that.
Okay.
I didn't press the right thing.
I got it. Let's see. Wait, I can probably get to it actually from here.
Oh yeah.
But I also have full spots. Do you want me to throw the remedy mushroom at you? Oh, it's antidote.
Sure, for the...
Let me drop that right there. Hopefully this fucking hits you.
Just full charge it. No.
Where'd the antidote go? Uh-oh!
I didn't see it roll.
It's no longer with me.
Oh, that's fine. It's not that big of a...
That's true. Poison goes away anyways. Welcome, welcome.
I got it, don't worry, I'll meet up away.
They're suffering.
Need to see the side of it. Oh, bear.
Ooh, almost stepped on that. That wasn't bad. Maybe up
I guess
that.
we're just kind of winging her.
Yeah. There's a lot of vines that we can kind of take. I kind of like this one that's above us, maybe? Maybe not.
Oh, there's another chest right here. Granola bar.
Granola.
Like waiting to see a ghost pop up in front of me.
Right.
Oh yeah, did you watch Germa play this?
No, I didn't. I saw that he was playing it one day.
Where he got jump scared by a ghost and died because
Oh my god. We've been obsessed with the Uma Masume streams.
Oh yeah. Do you want to take that?
But I can hold it, yeah. If I had enough stamina, maybe up there.
You got... I'm gonna carry someone I see.
Yeah, there's bees over there.
Oh, there's another chest. Maybe there'll be a bandage.
Hopefully.
Oh, there's two. Oh, there is a bandage.
Oh, okay, get that. I'm going to try and go for the other box, I guess.
Does the bandage work on good people?
Yes, it should.
Oh.
If they took health damage. Hey, we got more bandages. Mickey, I'm gonna throw this at you afterwards.
Crap, I may have used it on myself. God damn it.
Throwing it. Catch it.
Okay.
Catch it. It. Pick him up, pick him up, pick it like a.
Fall down here. Where'd it go?
There's bees.
I pressed E, but it didn't grab it. I'm wondering if it rolled to the bees.
It might have rolled
Hold
to
on.
the bees.
I don't see it.
I do need the bandage.
Oh yeah, Nom needs it.
Where is she?
Up there.
Up there.
Nice like this.
Always forget to right click on these on people.
You're gonna have to use it really fast because I suspect your car is very low.
We have to put her down.
Was it enough? Oh shit.
Well, I think when you're being carried, your bar doesn't move.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't move when you're being carried.
I'm gonna hold on to this flare.
Oh, I almost died.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that.
Yeah, you can climb up to that.
Oh man, I just got extra stamina now. I'm gone.
There is a...
Oh! I see green person.
Green?
Hello?
Something...
Am
Hello?
green.
Oh! Hello. The people.
Hi, Mickey.
Can you get up there?
Probably. Yeah, there's a safe spot right here.
Oh, so Nom did die. Okay, never mind.
Help us.
Go over this way. You get over here?
Never mind.
The fog rises.
The fuck, right?
Oh,
You
fine.
gotta try to dump it. That might be a little bit dangerous.
Wait, is it? Oh.
Yeah, come over here and I can...
Never mind, I'm going back.
Oh yeah. Gives
God,
you
there you go.
ideas.
Okay. Where are we going from here? Oh. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.
Saved.
Sorry, keep putting my keybind and changing on me and it's really
Oh,
throwing me
chest.
off.
Where the? Oh, there you are. It's like, where the fuck your waist go? Ooh.
Actually, I guess I shouldn't carry this flare with me. You don't need to speed one strapped.
Rope cannon and energy drink.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
If I can get on this, maybe. Will let me. Nah, it's not gonna.
Seems a bit too steep.
Yeah.
I think we go over. Wait,
I
is
saw
that
another group go that way.
Okay.
thinking there was a crack right here. I'm gonna check this real quick.
Oh, that's looking good.
Maybe.
Oh, rain.
I'll pull you up, Mickey.
Another way.
I don't think the rain is affecting us here.
Oh yeah, 'cause we're covered. I didn't even think about that.
Just following this.
Let's go this way.
Yeah.
Hello.
Wow.
The temptation to just get on this vine.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Hi. Oh, okay.
Oh, mine right.
Careful, it's not a safe spot here.
Oh boy.
No.
Oh.
No damage.
Go around the.
I'm just gonna jump right here. There you go. I'm really surprised I didn't
That
take
works.
damage from that.
The question is, where's Alto?
Good question.
Alto?
Although are you alive?
Uh-oh.
He may have fallen in the same spot I did and not made it.
I'm trying to see if I see his body, but I don't think I do.
Although
Oh, he had the rope cannon on him.
shoot.
There's a chest over there, but I don't think
Not
that's
worth.
all we get.
He would have fallen like way down there, I think. Cause I kinda slid off and
Alto?
only reached.
I am dead.
Oh.
I was trying to figure out where I landed, and I'm like, I don't know where.
Oh shit. Ooh.
We can shop this.
Yeah, I did not get lucky. I did not survive.
And you had the rope cannon too?
I know.
I don't know how I lived, TBH.
I tried to like move to the left to what seemed like a ledge, and that just ended up making me fall. I should have just accepted fate like you did, and maybe I would have lived.
Maybe. I was like, ooh. Man. I almost just stepped on that then. Fuck!
Oh.
Run!
Oh.
Oh god, there's one right there too.
Yeah, that's the one I almost stepped on. I stepped on a different one. I made it up one
I
though.
don't think the flare,
Oh, flare's gone.
but... yeah.
Farco's dead.
I want this.
Oof.
God, if I keep buying the keyboard, that kill me.
Good. There?
Yeah.
Ah. Man, I feel my legs like clenching as I'm trying to make these fucking jumps. Oh shit. Fuck the rain. I don't know if I'll make it up there in the rain. Help me, Mickey! Yes!
There you go. Oh, watch out. There's a thing.
Yeah! I hated the fucking green.
Yeah, I keep hoping for mushrooms. Want more good mushrooms?
About to say, do you need any food?
I'm good right now. I guess we're about to get a marshmallow.
That's true. I still have another marshmallow.
I have a granola, but I want to save it.
That's very fair.
I'd rather use a marshmallow just to get the extra stamina.
Oh, you got a new roommate? Oh, shoot. Sorry. I had a friend.
New roommate?
A friend got a new roommate. That's
I thought he
awesome.
was gonna fall in a hole keeping the note.
Aw, it doesn't work. That plane.
Hello.
Hello. Just wait for the volcano, no double.
Yeah, what took you so long, Kaisen? I beat y'all. I beat y'all to the peak.
That's crazy.
You beat us to the bottom too.
Yeah, I beat y'all to both. That's how good I am.
God damn.
Dude.
Who are we missing?
Just two. There were like 300 something of it.
Oh god.
Ain't chest close by.
I hear laughing.
Oh, there's two chests over there. They're on top of each other. That's not worth it. It's kind of too far.
Yeah. I don't think the pathing would be awful to get it, but... Wait. Oh, there's a box on that vine. That vine one's definitely not worth that shit.
We only really need a rope cannon.
Oh, Mickey, did I tell you that Epic the Musical guy has a second one coming out? A second musical? For Ilium?
I think I saw like something about it.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Oh, also, you want to know a strat?
Yeah.
So if you're at the end of your stamina, if you sprint, you can still sprint jump just as far, even if you're like almost depleted.
Oh, interesting.
It's like in Lethal how there's like that little bit extra stamina you can't see.
Hi. Oh.
Well,
I thought I could cook it or light up a
What if I kill myself in front of you guys and change the trajectory of your lives?
Oh no.
God damn, why you open your legs like that?
Moves on.
How can it be?
You mad that I... Never mind.
Why do I hear volcanic screaming in the distance?
Your belly, you did such a good job.
Oh my god.
Oh, I saw.
It's crazy to see.
Is that Size Ghost?
Sparkle's ghost like following me to the ground is crazy. Dude, he just flew at me. Whee! Oh god, there's also.
Oh, we need volcanic to get up.
Keep swapping
Got big balls.
What is he?
Big balls.
This is certainly
How
one
did
one
Doggo?
would
How
add.
did they get further away?
Oh god.
What about it?
They were at 380 when we first got here. Wait. Hey, Blissey. Where... Are you seeing?
I think that way.
the ghost? I'm glad the fog isn't consistent.
I've always seen like the fog rises, but like I've never seen like the effects of like the fog actually like fucking us up.
It killed me on that first run. It like slowly covers the edges of your screen if it's close.
Oh, okay, okay.
I really want to.
And then you just start taking damage once it's actually approached. You're in it.
Are they trying to go help? Or are they going for the box? Box. The yelling! What the fuck was that?
Well, that was awkward.
I saw something get through.
That looked like a heat pack.
That was not.
Yeah.
That was not bro.
Yeah.
I need to.
The fear of the hunger.
Yeah.
Getting us before they get up here.
What's going on?
Now they're at 380.
You can't climb this tree.
No, the branch is too thin.
What did I miss?
We're trying to go for the berries.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they went down again? They were at 380, now they're back at 400. What the fuck is going on?
I could run over with my like one stamina heart left.
They struggling.
I go down to watch Odaga and Volcanic struggling to make it up, and then I start hearing shouting from up here.
Dude, look at those two suitcases on our right. They're trying to make it
Yeah.
out. What the hell is that?
No.
I'm tempted to go over there for food
We're
without
getting
hunger.
freaky with it.
Blessy might be walking
Yeah,
over
we
there.
need to set the damn campfire on fire.
I think those berries are edible.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
berries are.
They're so close
I'm
yet
not.
so
I don't
far.
have the. I don't have the stamina to make.
I wouldn't trust them, like, getting over there.
They're so close but so far.
I hear. Well, someone's still alive down there. I want this.
He saved a life. Congo?
That floating island.
If I'm understanding your story
I
correctly.
keep thinking about that. You can do it if you have a magic bean.
I made you a savior and you're not gonna take it?
Huh?
You can throw them on the ground, and it makes a giant like beanstalk.
I didn't save you. We found.
I saw it in the first solo run after we played. I was so confused. I died before I used it though.
That's like
Oh
this.
my god.
What
Let's
is
read
it?
it back.
Can you give us a name origin story?
A name. Okay, so this is gonna be really dumb. I used to do a lot of roleplay back in the day, and so I just made a character that's name was Naito, so like knight, but like Japanese because edgy, and then it went from Naito to Nates as a nickname from friends in Final Fantasy, so I just stick with Nates.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
How do you get mates from knights?
Oh.
Well,
No, Blessy
if you
fell,
take
they
off
were
the S in my name and put an
discussing
O,
that, but
they
it
just
came back.
remove the O and just put an S there. Like
What
Nates.
happened? Marco, but we made it.
But wouldn't that be
They
knights?
made it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna revive.
But I also used to get called NATO, like North Atlantic Trade Organization and shit like that by randos, so crazy. Wait, did they finally make it?
Thanks. Yeah, we probably have more. We get cursed every time we
Oh
die.
my god.
Are we gonna die?
Did you get what?
What?
I did.
What item?
I need to eat.
Supposed to give us
That's her perma debuff for dying.
Well,
It's to shame us.
Cook. Let them cook.
your words elude me.
Num 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 num.
Alright.
Alpin!
So far, Blessy has died on every single mountain. You must
What?
change this. That's true. You've died on every single one.
I didn't
You
die.
gotta change the fate, man.
You've died on every single one?
I didn't die. Why are you making up lore for me? I survived.
No.
I kind of like the outer.
I have witnesses. See, Congo knows I'm alive. I live.
See, I just.
Oh my god, I almost ate shit there.
Damn, that was a very high pitch. That sounded like an instrument. I hope that wasn't rude. Dude, this is like, look at all these
Fine.
suitcases.
Did someone just fall or down there?
Energy drink's kind of the only good thing.
There's a bandage over here for anybody who wants it. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
What?
It's cold! Somebody get my Snuggie!
Oh. No. We lost.
I'm gonna throw the oranges across the way.
We call this Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew.
Meow. Lantern.
Not bad.
Yeah, not the worst item. Oh.
Snow is approaching.
It's so funny to watch my model on the other screen whenever I like have to wipe my eye a little bit. It fucking
No.
tweaks out. Oh
I'm
no!
going back
It's
down.
cold!
this way. I wonder if someone's up top. Alpine's probably my worst map, honestly.
Yeah. The fucking snow is awful on this map.
It's not even that. I try to read too much, and that's usually where I die.
Oh.
Because I always like try to go in some weird, narrow, like crook.
No, my winterberry. I'm about to say, I do like how these sides kind of look.
Oh my god.
But I don't like the ice.
Yeah.
That fucking gas flush laugh was crazy. Down here. Oh, gotta readjust my chair. Where'd you go, Mickey? Oh, there you are.
Oh god. I just realized they're at 3 o'clock. My PT might be calling me pretty soon.
Oops.
I did between 4 and 5, so...
That's fair.
Pick up the pace a little bit.
But did I just hear, like, explode?
I heard that too.
It's either like a remedy mushroom. Ouch. Going down here, getting my snuggie. Boop.
I usually have bad luck going through the middle, but
Yeah, I don't like the middle of the Alpine very much. God damn, that fucking sounds crazy. Yeah.
Where? Oh! Okay.
just
Can you
kidding.
go, Mickey? Go! 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 Go!
Going is the extra. I don't want to go.
Okay. Uh oh. Uh oh. You don't make it. You don't make it.
How'd you make it?
Okay. 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 Trust. Okay, I'm coming up.
As long as you can grab that.
I should be able to. Hello, thank you. Oh my god, my extra energy.
Yeah. About to have to eat this granola bar.
It's such a small amount.
Oh, you played for them?
Yeah, you get the half.
Oh, no, I don't have it.
Look at the fucking crew.
Ants.
The ants.
Oh, shut up.
The fall crisis. Okay. I kind of forgot the path already.
I feel like we maybe should have gone the way they're going.
No.
Dude, where's the steam at? Is it bonus? No, it's oh, it's right up.
I kind of hate the sound of the snow crushing underneath my feet.
Oh my god.
It like grinds my gears a little.
I think that's the way, but it's like the inside, so it's safe, and I kind of appreciate that. I don't know. It's bad. It's bad. Go back.
Okay.
I'm going down.
Uh-oh. I'm going way down, Mickey. Bye, Mickey. That hurt! I'm not making it back up there. Shit. I have less than a fourth of energy bar. Uh.
Oh wait, never mind then. My bad.
Yeah, I'm a little doomed. It's okay.
Okay. See you, dude. You can have a
Mickey, how many empty slots do you have?
Christmas gift.
I got one.
Take this.
Does anyone have healing items?
Okay.
I'm literally gonna.
Oh, I'm gonna die too. Do you need food?
Oh. I do need food actually, but not that much. It's just a little dark.
Do you have any extra
They got
slots?
healing items over there.
Oh. I don't know if I'm gonna make that. My stamina is literally down to like 1%. It's crazy.
Mickey,
Oh, we
you're
made it.
dragging me. Mickey, you're dragging me.
I'm dragging you.
I don't know. I was somehow caught in your arm.
How bad is the stamina bar?
Here, hold this, give me the rope.
Oh.
That way I can get you and Nom up there.
I was gonna give Nom everything in the backpack.
I'm gonna pass
What?
I'll just sacrifice myself.
What? What? Whoa! Whoa! What the fuck?
No.
Here.
Here.
Wait, it's in your backpack. In your backpack.
Hold on, here.
I put stuff in your backpack.
I dropped it for you.
Oh, okay. I'm fine now. Wait.
Hold on, I'll get you up here.
We could have used that mushroom.
Goodbye, world.
I can't get up. Here.
Hold on. Okay.
Guys.
You have rope in your backpack.
Yeah, I can hold on to it.
Yeah, take the rope from the backpack and use it. There's more rope.
Oh, you gotta drop it.
I'm coming.
Or is it heavy at all?
Wait, I'm dropping.
what?
I'm gonna throw some rope at y'all. Here it comes. Wait, it went down. Shit. Where are y'all? I can't make it up there.
Oh, okay.
I'm right over here. If y'all can see my pointer.
Yeah, I can boost you.
Rope.
Oh, fuck.
Oh. I died today.
Okay, thank you. No. I do. Do you need it? Or... Wait, no, can you use this? Does this work? Oh! Did it work?
It should heal health damage. Uh-oh.
Oh.
Which way? Oh. Oh, it's finally green. My socket is acting up again. Oh no.
Hi, how are you?
Hold on, I'm gonna die.
Don't do that. That's not very good.
Ooh, there's an HP chest in there. I need this.
Hi. I fell and I got hungry, and so I got so hungry I died.
We do go up that way. We don't go from there.
If only we were closer.
Oh, it's okay. There was no way I was making it.
Did you grab that berry right there?
Yeah.
Did you eat it?
Hi, Vicky. What's up?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I fell and I had like less than a pinky worth of
Oh my god.
stamina.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh. That's
I'm gonna freeze
spot.
out here.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Is there anything in here?
Oh shit! A rat.
Barely. Kinda.
Okay.
That was bad.
It's easy around this place.
How close is that evil chest up on me?
Okay, that's doable.
Gives you infinite stamina. I don't know if it refills or not.
I think Blakag said that you get sleepy afterwards.
Oh, it makes you sleepy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, the energy drink.
Damn, that was not good. Oh, maybe? Oh, this is where Nathan
We got fucking wrecked. There is no way I was surviving that.
Oh, thank you.
What the hell? It's the other group.
Guys, look what I got. I got the gambling box. Oh!
Oh!
My God,
Oh, Mo.
How do you make it up there?
Let me get over there.
Okay, where did you go?
Can I
Where
get
did
a
you
hand?
fall?
Can I get a hand?
Oh yeah.
I tried to go up that, but that is a lot for my stamina.
Why not that ledge?
There is a baton up there though.
Oh.
This jump?
What?
Did you make it? Okay.
Hey, you can make it. You got it.
I made it.
I had 60%
I'll do it.
of my stamina.
Ah!
I'm gonna be real.
Ooh.
That's okay. I think that helps. We could,
It's because I started throwing it in case you started falling, but so I couldn't cancel out of
No,
it.
hold
At least
on.
I don't think I could. So I just threw it.
Wait, do you wanna try first parkour? Or I think I got it. I can
I
use
get a
this
boost.
mushroom.
Who's
Oh,
that?
oops. Yeah, I got you.
What's up?
You see that? Who is that?
Baton is about to break.
Am I crazy?
Do we have any pink people?
Oh.
So,
Hi.
Who is that?
Yeah, who is that? Wait. Is that
Hello?
Kai?
dude, Kite?
No, Kai's
What's her
up
face?
there.
No, what? Who's that?
Oh no.
Hello?
Oh.
Hello. Nate.
Yeah.
Nate, can you tell us who that is?
Literally me.
All right.
No, over there.
Oh, over there.
actually-
Let me see.
Oh,
Oh, it is Mickey. Hi.
Kai.
That would that would
Oh.
be Mickey over there.
think we can make it?
Bless it.
Mickey?
Oh god.
Yeah, that's always what I've called him. That was his name in Final Fantasy, so.
Let me send volcanic in.
Because he likes Mickey Mouse. Kingdom
Hold on.
Hearts.
I got a rope cannon, so you can put a rope for us.
I'll boost you guys.
You're crazy for being over here alone.
I kind of wanted the chest, and also I like this rat a little bit better.
Well, that's fair. There's so many of them over there. All the voices. Uh-oh.
Yeah. There's another chest over there. I should have went for that.
Oh my.
I'm not gonna make that.
Oh no. That's not good. Maybe energy drink up there?
Oh yeah, I probably should have.
They're all fucking struggling over there. It's fucking hilarious. They keep popping shelf mushrooms.
Do I use a stamp or energy drink for the?
Yeah.
Oh no! Don't tell me.
Wait, this is the dead end.
They're gonna dead end. Oh no.
That's why I didn't go that way.
Honestly, valid. Yeah, about to say maybe up to your right, sort of. In like this direction.
Could I leave the rope here down for them in case they come quick?
Maybe? Let me go see how they're doing.
I'm just gonna... I see.
Sparkle?
He's offering his head services.
Oh.
Okay, I think they might be okay over there, actually. They found a way, like, through the mountain. It kind of leads up.
Wish I had some food.
Yeah. I put stuff in Nom's backpack. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Slipping and sliding.
Who's dying?
It's a false.
Gravity Falls? You fell.
There we go.
Honestly, ghost gameplay, not that bad. Especially on the fucking Alpines. Fuck that shit. At least I can have my Snuggie in death. I don't even know where my Snuggie actually went. I used to have one.
I wasn't a big fan of them.
I wish they were a little longer, but like, they were, I think they were pretty good in the amount of thickness. I remember like they originally came out and like my best friend in Florida like got me one. Pretty pog.
I like the idea of them, but they're just like uncomfortable to me. I hate only being the front. It's like wearing a gown.
That's fair. The fear. I think you could have made that.
Problem is I don't know where I'm going now.
Ooh,
there's ancient chest down there. Probably garbage though.
You want to take that health damage in Gamba?
Problem is I don't know if I get back up if I do it.
Yeah.
I guess I could rope, but
I'm trying to see if I can like tell you where to go from here. You might be able to go up if you go to the edge of that, like up to your left. There's a safe spot. Yeah. Yeah. Shoot, we don't have enough stamina for that. Oh, fuck.
I dropped the rope, maybe. I can get up there.
Because then you have a couple of stepping stones. I don't think you make it so.
Yeah. I have an idea.
Okay.
Damn it.
Gonna check on them really quick, I'll be back.
Oh god, I'm gonna pass out.
I actually don't play through them, but I know they have moon.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh no.
The moon girl.
Oh my god.
I still can't believe every.
Dude, you
That stupid moon girl that I hate.
Steam.
Okay, I'll look real quick. Alright, what's
I think
going
it's
on?
time to eat this stuff.
They're all so good over there.
How am I moving him?
So this is what I mean, where it's like, I try to go the path and like, I see where to go.
Yeah. I think they're pretty close, if I'm not mistaken. Oh.
I just got the rope, so I'll die if they make it.
I'll keep checking. Who the fuck is dying?
Oh, okay, you're okay.
I'm right here at the ledge. May not be evident on my screen, but whenever I grabbed your hand, I grab me.
Thank you.
Looks like a couple of them made it already. 2 of them have, and then they should be reaching for it soon.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna try this. Oh, there's a thing right here.
That's a fucking juicer. Okay. We trust.
Now I make it.
Yes. R.I.P. rope. Okay.
He made it.
What?
Oh, wait, did he make it?
I was lying.
If you're gonna pass out in a flat spot. Shoot. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Don't roll! Flip yourself over! Okay. 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 Keep yourself up. Keep yourself up. As long as it doesn't go out fast, you should be able to make it, I think. There you go. Okay.
Is that music?
Okay, the last couple are making it up there.
I saw Sparko freaking out on my screen.
Yikes. Does that have a numpad? What the fuck? Wait, maybe I could see if they could help you? Ooh,
oh, wait.
Ooh. Box. Rope.
Let's go.
Actually, you might be fucking fine.
Yeah, I'm Gucci.
Fucking snow! It's gonna make you pass out again. Maybe. No. Okay.
No. It's like I knew I was at the top at some point.
Oh yeah, you're clear.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm the only one that died. That's fine.
Times it 3.
324. We can get through the next part.
Oh my god, Kais is up.
I hear him.
Yeah, he's coming.
How close is he?
He's very close. He's past the resurrection statue.
Alright. Nate, what are the odds that he's died?
Crescent, dude,
not high.
that one
Not
moon
very.
emoji with the face on it.
I'm alive!
Dude, Al Oni food at 3 AM. Oh my god.
Don't contact out.
I'm blue. I'm turning blue demon. Al Oni. Wait on. On her screen, it looks really crazy.
Fucking zoom.
Al Oni.
Come on, fuck up.
Tell me why Al Oni has a better version of Umame. Like what? Please don't take fall damage, you guys.
Please don't talk and grab the wall! Oh my god!
I love Umamasume.
Dude, that was scary.
Gold ship couldn't. Yeah. I think
What?
Silent Suzuka is my fave.
Did you say gold chip can get it?
No. I'm not gonna say gold ship.
Oh my god, you played Musume.
Yeah. Oh shit.
What? What?
What I missed? waste shit.
I think he's burning.
Wait.
No!
I can save you, Nate. Don't die, I can save you.
Yeah.
Well, it's just burn damage. It'll wear off. You can walk it off.
Guys, you can make it, do
Just
it.
in
I missed the
case.
jump.
You made it.
It's a little tricky. You got it.
Just don't fall off.
Oh my god.
You gotta pick him up.
I can't believe it.
Pick him up. Bring him up.
We just started.
This is pretty cool.
So sad.
What?
Sparko! You can make it, bro. You got it. Just
Me?
jump, Sparko.
Oh no.
So what happened to a dog is he
No.
walked off and he wasn't
Don't
on the
do
ground
it.
because he was walking.
No. No.
Dude, I need food or else I'm not gonna be able to make this with Odaga. Wait, does anyone have perfect stamina?
I do. You can hold my backpack. Or, well, somebody.
Okay,
can.
Wait,
yeah, we'll
also,
swap. I can
did
take your
you
backpack
just
if you
eat a
want.
marshmallow?
Well, no, I
It's
guess you're
for
heavy
free.
with that.
Yo,
No. Give me a dog.
Oh,
This
okay.
is nothing. It's a cooked backpack.
Oh foot. Oh foot.
Behind you,
I see it. I see it. Ah.
Oh yeah, dog.
Press the climb button.
Oh, you're already pretty much there.
Is it because I said I didn't like
Slay
gold
button.
shoe?
Because you're horny.
The slave
Over there.
button.
No!
Flames.
Silence Suzuka is the one that made it to the finale.
We need a
This is like
medkit.
Sen's
Pronto.
Funhouse if all the traps were removed.
And I love traps.
No, to
Yo?
revive Odaga.
What?
Oh shit.
There's a bandage. There's a bandage over there.
It's a sports drink.
Oh, where?
Oh, sweet.
Somebody's
Do you
taking it.
want the egg?
Oh, okay.
Also, you want the egg?
Oh, yeah, I'll take an egg. I'm coming.
How you like your eggs? Fried or fertilized?
You have to crack it though. Just careful.
Oh.
You gotta grab it.
Yeah, just smack it
Okay.
straight to the green.
Smack it. Then, yeah.
There we go.
It just cooked.
It's
Oh,
a
thank you.
stovetop.
Oh, that's so
I don't think he's gonna wake up. He might have taken too much fall damage.
Dude. Oh, okay. We should definitely go for this one.
We need a med kit for him.
Wow. Oh my god.
Who needs a bandage?
Yeah. I hear Odaga was favorite #1 in winning this race.
Oh, yeah, Odaga needs a bandage, probably.
Run! Oh my god, this
He's
spot
on
right
Volcanic.
there.
Volcanic's holding him.
Hold on, I have a bandage for
Hey, toss it over here.
Toss it.
Not
That's
for
crazy.
egg.
Come over here, man.
Why is everything on fire?
Oh wait, you could take the chain.
Yeah, bless you, I'm right here.
Mhm.
Oh, something's on
You
fire.
give it to him. Wait,
Yeah, it took me like
we
5
gotta
minutes
drop
to
him.
break
We have to find a safe spot to drop him.
Something's on fire.
Very good.
Yeah, you can take the chain here for sure.
Why is back?
Yeah.
What are you at?
That's great.
Move! Oh my god, move! Oh, move right here!
Yo.
Oh my god, there's a fire.
Oh my fuck. Thanks for carrying me all this way. Holy shit. I'm just gonna die again.
I don't like that fire.
It's so cinematic.
Stamina.
There's a fire
It's
behind
barely
you.
anything.
You jump.
You'll be fine.
Just grab the rope.
Make it sound so easy.
Dang.
If you take fire damage, at least get over here so I can. Oh.
Oh my god, I'm gonna drop!
No!
Ah, not
Oh,
again! No! Leave me! Fucking leave me!
He's fine. He's fine.
He's fucking
fine.
melting!
Nah, he's fine. He's fine. Don't. He's fine. Odaga, don't kill yourself. Don't kill yourself. You're fine.
Volcanic, bro. Volcanic.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just.
What is happening? All my friends are burning.
Oh no, is his body still there?
Odaga, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, Odaga. It's going to be okay. Oh.
He's fine.
No! just has to believe.
He's fine. He's fine.
Go get his ass.
See?
Jeez.
See, he's fine. He's fine.
He's perfectly fine.
No!
Nobody. My accident grabbed the fucking chain.
He's gonna wake up, dude.
He's gonna wake up. Yeah, it's just a bit of fire damage.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey.
Bro.
Let me jump here.
The fire's coming.
Dude, I had a winter melon and like
Ouch. Ouch.
Tiny ledge. Oh, I probably might knock you off. I'm sorry if I do.
Oh shit! What happened? What's happening? I feel like I was dragging you, but I don't know what I was doing. Nate.
I'm okay. Oh fuck, my extra energy. No. Oh fuck. Oh fuck.
No.
I'm okay. Oh shit. God damn.
Oh, we're all gonna make it. Yeah. Yeah, we're down here, Sparko.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, just climb down. Oh boy.
Uh-oh, they're gonna get cooked.
We're not okay.
We might have to do what they're doing and just go for it.
What? Go for what? Go for where?
There, maybe?
Actually, I don't know. Oh wait, now's our chance. The lava's going down.
Go,
we
go,
gotta
go.
go. We gotta go. Jump. Sparkle this way.
Crazy. You're crazy. You're
Come on! Come on! Come on!
But we're gonna live.
Fuck lava, please!
You gotta be crazy to live in these crazy times, Sparko.
Zoom in. Zoom in.
See, look at that. We made it.
Such an epic moment. I don't like that. Oh shit.
Fuck, it's on fire.
Oh shit. Oh, we can go back here. We can go back here. We can go back here.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good here. Oh. Yeah.
No! Not the daily races.
We're fine now.
Put that away.
You know,
I don't.
I'm just gonna go for it.
I'm going this way.
Oh, thank you.
Ow!
Why did you? Ow!
I broke my leg. Why?
Oh, my stamina. There we go. Thank you.
Stamina was like, no.
Abu.
What's up?
Oh, you're here. You're alive.
Yo. What a trooper.
Bro is living.
I'm living in spirit.
She put a bunch of this food in here.
Hopefully I can make it up.
Well, I don't care.
Wait, I have a remedy shroom. If someone wants to.
Our casualties are lessening.
Oh!
You guys, who's is anyone hurt? Like,
Whoa.
really hurt or anything?
No, I'm
Who
good.
needs a marsh?
If anyone's hurt, I can put
Who needs a marshmallow?
Would you like?
I've had
That's
mine.
full mouse control.
Oh, thank you.
I'll tell everybody to bag.
Okay.
There's a rope.
Oh, nice.
Does
Okay.
anyone else see them like
Can't hold it.
glitching? Like a meme
Okay.
down the pathway?
See them dancing.
No.
Jumping
No.
back and forth.
But I saw the clip.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff in my backpack now. I don't even know what I got in there.
I hear that one song playing.
I don't know why.
I trust there's good stuff.
Time to play peek.
Whoa.
Guys, just tell them 5 more minutes and we climb for another 30.
I haven't gotten a call yet, so they're fine, I think.
Are you supposed to go there or is it a house call?
He comes here.
And he hasn't called
like,
you that he's coming?
Well, he calls when he's on the way, and then I have like maybe 5 to 10 minutes when he's on the way.
Damn.
To finish all your food.
Yeah. Yeah. From a
Just tell them
high.
to come play Peak.
That's what I said.
For that.
I don't know, I said nonsense. I mean, Nate's is here.
When he talks about video games, he talks about like Fallout 1 style like holes.
Oh.
Not today.
And even then, he doesn't know what Fallout
Did
is.
you get your free El Condor pasta?
Yeah.
You probably watched
training her
the
is
Amazon
so
series.
hard. Like, I think I'm actually too stupid.
Might have. Maybe.
Have you done an Ingress Wonder run?
Yeah.
Fucking Ingress Wonder.
Oh, this mechanic is not making that.
Yes, I
He might
am.
be cooked.
Oh my god.
I'm not cooked. I'm not cooked. It was
Bye,
like
Mickey.
a bad idea.
I'm alive.
Hi.
Might be Pete.
Oh, close.
Hi. I thought I died.
Master climbers, what's the play here?
That's fair.
I have rope and rope cannon.
I'm using my
Rope
hand.
cannon.
As long as you have
I don't think
I don't know if this is advice from people, but
I don't know what. We tank it.
I actually don't know, Sparko. I'm a little worried.
Wait, that looks like a safer path.
Okay.
Where'd you end up?
I'm down to try.
I'm a little safe place.
I'm up.
Like my
Where'd we go here?
I hear your ping.
I came back up.
Do we have to jump this?
There's a little drop down.
There's a drop down.
You're right underneath me.
But the problem is if we go that way, Sparko, I don't know where to. Oh, never mind. I guess we can't do that. Nom did it.
Yeah, you have to go down here first.
Alright.
Go down and then.
I'm gonna
start
try it though.
jumping
Wish
on
me
the right
luck.
I don't know where. You didn't go the way I went. I will say that. Okay.
La la da.
So I went up like
Fuck this. Fuck everything about this.
I am surprisingly okay where I am right now. Oh, don't make me fall. Don't you do it.
Oh yeah. Dude, three ropes.
Hi.
Oh my god.
hi, my PT's on the way now.
Uh-oh. Tell him, hold up.
You guys want a rope? You guys want a rope? I'm gonna sit on this. No thanks. What the fuck? There's a little
Oh, okay.
Dude, this shit is fooling me. It's not even there yet. I haven't even placed it. Why does it have physics?
Oh, the fuck?
What? Oh. Yo, Congo. You think you could jump to this?
if I placed it right here.
No.
Yeah, you could, bro. Yeah, you could.
Oh.
If you jump from right here, let's follow my
The
hand.
last time
Oh, you
someone told Congo to jump, she died.
Oh, okay. Well, there's just a bunch of. There's just so much rope over here, you know.
Leslie,
Yes.
got 5 minutes.
There's fire under your feet.
5 minutes.
You got
5
it.
minutes.
5 whole
Sounds-
minutes.
Tell him to get into traffic.
I think you stick to this, and then you jump over to me.
He might. I might.
Well, actually, here.
So.
Well, yeah.
He's gonna need at least 15.
You make it. You're fine.
We're actually gonna peek.
We're actually gonna pee.
There's 2 ropes on the bridge here. Oh, I'm seeing the bugging. Like pulling all around when I grab guys.
Alright. Grab a knee.
Trust.
Yeah. Wait.
Hopefully I'll fucking make this jump. Jump. Why the fuck
Oh,
am I
my
wearing
yummy
this?
too.
Thank you.
Dude, your fit is giving what's that turtle guy from Delta? I don't remember.
Delta Room?
I've never played Delta Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Oh wow.
okay.
It's not mid.
I've heard it's really good.
I wonder how the is that
It is.
Right the right big.
middle mouse?
Like,
But I don't know if that's
So you're playing League of Legends?
I used to play a lot of League of Legends, but then I'm like on and off type gamer of League
Bro,
of
you can make that, and then you can make that. That's what they did.
Not the no.
Y'all make it originally.
I'm a support main.
Yeah, I could tell.
See.
Ugh.
Okay, you can make it without using extra stamina.
Oh.
Go if you.
So you're gonna be our 5th for Clash?
Oh my god.
What the
Yeah, you
Clash
think you
would?
can make it to this room? Okay, I almost got logged helping you.
Clash is the tournament.
Oh yeah, I never
Come on, guys.
joined those. I used to play
Oh my
ARAM.
fucking god, don't look down.
You're an ARAM warrior?
Yeah, I love ARAM. TBH.
Yeah. There's a special place in hell for people like you.
Just press E, please press E and grab the rope.
I mean that respectfully.
I'm already there for being LGBT, so
Yeah, you can make that.
Yeah.
Just sprint jump.
not much that can stop me.
You can't say that. It's not woke to
Oh.
Man.
It's unwoke to say gay people are they them should go to.
Hmm.
You deserve a place. If the dogs can go to heaven, you can too, gosh darn it. Watch that movie?
No, I have not. I probably would cry. I'm really sensitive when it comes to animals.
I wanna go home. No,
Climb the mountain and you will. Mickey!
No!
Oh my god.
He's fucking gone!
Oh, chill out right here. This is not a ledge. This is not a
Did he
ledge.
fall straight down and
Oh, I see
die?
what he saw. Okay. I'm not going up that way.
Okay.
Alright.
He said, oh, you're pushing it, man.
God.
Oh shit.
It might be. Hi!
I legit cannot grab
I
it.
caught you too, and it just dropped.
There's nothing up here.
Nothing?
Yeah, you can't go that way.
There's nothing up there.
Guys, I'm
It's
scared.
just a,
Guys,
it's just
oh
a
my
slope.
god. Thank God.
There's
My
a tiny
emergency
lip by the
stamina
lava
saved my life.
up at the top.
I know something.
There's a rope here.
Okay.
God damn it.
Turn around. So see that where the lava bends to the right?
Like there?
Alright.
Guys, did you
I'll
jump
take
to
your
make this?
video.
Did you jump and make that rope?
Okay, so you see the burning rock.
That, yeah.
So to the left of that, there's a little
Oh
bit that goes
no, I got phased.
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe not.
That
I don't know about
sucks.
you, but I'm not touching that.
Oh.
I just saw you get plugged. What the fuck?
He's talking about
got the
over
sparkle.
there. Yeah, I don't like
Okay,
that.
we can make that. We can make that.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Or we can climb up here.
Piton?
You sure?
I don't think that's
Where does
gonna
the
work.
piton go?
Nowhere good.
Oh my
Get
god.
to the top for me.
It's okay, we can do like
I can't
If you can
tell
do it, I
what
can do
you're
it.
talking about. Like right.
Yeah.
I don't think that's reachable.
How did you get
So
there?
there's a little.
Oh, I see. Conga, could you be a baller and catch this rope
Like
and
right
drop
here?
it for me?
Yeah.
You think?
I don't think this is a lift.
Wait, I can grab that.
It's only one at a time. I was using it.
Oh, wait.
How in the fuck are you over there?
Nope, 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 nope.
Wait. Yo, Conga, could you give me a hand? I wanna go that way.
Oh shit, okay, yeah, I can reach that.
Wait, you can't.
Oh wait, I see the ledge.
Okay, if I don't make this jump,
Is that good, Sparkle?
sayonara. Wish me luck.
Sparkle! Oh. Did you take damage?
Huh?
We made
You
it.
and me.
Oh,
We ball.
is this when you tell me I'm supposed
I'm gonna go ahead and go.
This is
Are
when
you
we
hurt?
ball.
That's the
Nah,
back.
watch this.
Bye, make
This is when we ball.
Alright,
Thank
you
you,
got
coming
this.
ties. I'm sorry you couldn't finish.
Where's my salute?
Get to the top. Don't let me down.
The P and PT stands for P.
Excuse me!
Peak trainer.
Can we go? I think we go over here first.
I'm gonna get jacked.
Help! Help!
Look at
Oh my goodness.
Dog, I got you. Bro, this is stressful. Holy fuck.
might just try to
We go this way.
Where's
Yeah.
Salto and Spark?
Yeah, I think we just jump.
What? Oh, okay.
How do we get up here? Like, we go here and.
Wait, don't use a rope for that.
I have plenty rope.
Rope is plenty.
Watch the lava.
Yeah,
oh
that
my.
fucking was almost very spicy. Yeah.
Almost kill. Where were you when lava killed?
Where were you when Shark Boy needed you? You just tossed the rope, bruh.
I found a new rope.
Okay, but we could've used that.
There's a med kit.
My bad. There is a medkit.
Wait, Alto has like everything in his tag.
Sparkle!
I have something.
Sparkle! Sparkle, no!
You're crazy.
The friend that wants attention.
Sparkle!
If you touch that lava, that shit would have done like
Yeah, I
that.
think Sparkle's dead.
Dude, what? Did he actually go through?
We ball.
Yeah.
No.
What's your stamina?
Yeah, I did.
Bala.
Well, yeah, make it. You fuck up.
Oh!
How the
Sparkle,
fuck?
your life stays something. You can rope you.
What?
And then you just land
Oh.
on me if it's too much. Wait, let me boost. And then...
Oh! Oh, goodbye, guys.
Do I throw this at her?
No!
Oh, her backpack came out.
There's not enough.
She.
Oh no, it's still there.
Otago?
Did you take fall damage?
Just a little.
Wait, I'm alive.
Oh, thank God.
The fire damage is going back.
Okay. Put this back in your
Wait,
backpack.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Maybe.
Turn around really quick. I got you.
Hi, Sparkle.
Yay?
But honestly,
Haha, James.
food is worse.
Did you see
What
the,
to eat?
did you see the,
Yeah,
the
do that.
I know, I'm making it
Okay. Yeah,
slowly
yeah.
but surely.
We can
Now, when I say this some ass, I promise you this some ass.
Oh.
If everyone's hurt.
Did you see the Zenless Stone Zero controversy?
What luck?
I don't know what you're saying. Horizon Zero Dawn?
Zenless Stone Zero.
Can we make this?
No, I haven't.
Walk into the wall.
Really crowded. This
Fellas,
is
I have a way up.
It very much is.
What's up?
Just walking into the
Avert your eyes to the rope.
Well, I'm down here now.
Optional.
Oh, yeah.
This lava's scary. Oh my god.
What's up?
Oh, they're over there.
I don't know where the fucking go.
Maybe it's
Be careful, also. That thing fucking killed me.
How? Do I have to climb from the
Oh.
side?
What the f?
That'd probably be the safe option. Don't try and jump it. That's or you can do it.
I
Holy
did it
shit.
right as you said it!
The f-
Yes, I'm climbing on
Oh,
my
Shit, that
Oh,
was
dog, don't jump it as I'm jumping it.
Not as bad as you think.
Doable, doesn't it?
Get up, get up.
Yeah, no, that's
Quickly while it's still hot. I'll help you up. Oh
Okay.
What's happening here?
no!
Is anyone injured? I have a bunch of bandages and a med kit.
Do we have another rope?
Oh yeah, I have a rope and a rope cannon.
Oh, what the?
Wait.
You have a rope cannon? Wait.
Yeah.
Baton. We have a baton.
Oh.
I would wait to see if Blessy dies first.
What?
2 batons.
What the hell is this?
Wait. Oh, hello.
Second baton.
Oh my god.
Save it for this moment. The rope?
That was crazy.
Oh.
Uh-oh,
You should have climbed up the heated rock.
Nicole? Nicole?
Hello?
Or wherever
Shit.
it was.
Okay. K.
Oh. Alright.
I'm gonna need to get pulled up too.
Oh, I see. Oh, mom.
I'm at
Same.
Oh my god, okay.
Help me! Help me! Oh my god.
Why?
Snake's still down there.
Marco, is there anyone else?
don't think.
Oh.
Down there.
I already got Nate.
Ain't no way I make that. Why am I
Hey, where are
you're not
you?
grabbing? I'm
I'm
on the
here,
second
Nate.
pit then. Please. Oh no.
Okay, I'm ready to grab.
No. Why is my character not grabbing? Please.
No! Oh!
Okay.
Oh, that's
Come
a
on.
lot of stamina.
Oh, this is not good. Please.
Oh shit!
Oh my god! That was-
Does anyone have a rope? I could make this really easy right here.
No way.
Oh my
Any
god.
leftover rope?
Oh, you were screwed.
Wait, are you hungry?
Oh, I am hungry.
Nom has a sports
Do I have
drink in his
food?
bag.
Oh yeah, I do have a sports drink.
Oh,
Does
cannibalism.
anyone have a rope? I could just pop the
If you could reach
lollipop
me.
and drop a
I got
rope
you.
down there.
Yeah, I have a rope cannon and a regular rope
Let
volcanic.
me see that regular rope.
Okay.
Sports drink out.
Wait, we have to drop it in a secure.
Thank
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna drop it right here.
Oh, watch out, because
I'm
Get
like
it here.
flying everywhere or something.
Alright.
Give me a hand.
I'm like going this direction.
Okay, you ready? I'm about to drop it.
Yeah, drop it.
Can you move forward a bit?
There you go.
Good boy. Okay.
Dude, volcanics fleeing out of my screen. He's gonna shoot things like a missile on my.
Alright, here's
I'm
what I'm gonna
scared.
do.
This
I'm
thing
gonna
is-
climb up here and I'm gonna pop the lollipop.
Yeah, you can go
And then I'm
back.
gonna drop a rope.
No, don't move. Don't move. You're gonna push me off.
Wait, and then we have to go over to where you are?
Yeah. I'm in the wall. What's going on?
Volcanic. This
You're
is
free. What the fuck? Where the hell?
My turn. My like.
Oh.
What the hell?
I did not.
Oh.
Whoa. I failed.
Are you hurt?
No, I'm not hurt.
Okay, that's good.
I just failed.
Have you ever gambled?
Alright, well, I have a rope cannon, so there's that still. But
Play block shoots with your life on the line.
Wait. What about
I don't
here?
afford that. I don't afford that, but I guess we're gonna.
Is there actually a space?
oh, right there. I don't know if there's any ledges up there.
Maybe not.
Ah!
What?
I'm sorry.
What is
Oh,
this
I
jump?
almost fell.
Let's go up quick.
Let me see if I. Can you boost me, maybe? I have full stamina.
Do you want me
Wait,
to-
get up here.
Okay.
Oh wait, there's not a ledge there. Never mind. Never mind.
Okay. Want me to
Yeah,
jump?
Wait. Yeah. Jump.
Oh, you want me to just throw it out?
Yeah, throw.
Ah!
Throw what? The energy?
Do I make this? It's gonna be really close.
Oh, the mushroom.
Oh, there's not even a ledge.
Shit.
Ooh, okay, nice.
That's fine.
Oh.
Took minor damage. That's fine.
Wait, go run into that cloud.
Oh, fungus!
I'm gonna try and make it.
Hurry!
Sorry. Oh wait, why don't we just climb around there? What the hell?
Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Yeah,
Can
what
you
the-
rest there?
Supposed to rest.
No, grab me.
I don't like
There's a ledge.
This is
Is there a ledge here?
No, it doesn't.
Ow!
I thought Leslie said there was one there. No!
There was. They're like right there.
He was there.
You should have pinged it before we went out.
Swear to God, if you're lying.
You guys were watching me.
Okay. Oh, we have the right.
Okay, yeah, you can rest here. Yeah.
Yeah,
I lost Bing Bong,
He's
dude.
dead.
I think I might be doomed. Come on.
You want the rope cannon?
No.
Can we help Nate first?
Yeah, but there's there's 2 other people here that can do that.
Oh, true.
Into the
Alright, do you want it?
Hello? Make it.
Okay. I don't know if I
Drop it.
make this.
3, 2, 1.
I'm trying.
Goodbye. Ah! Okay, I'm still here. I don't make it though. I don't have enough energy.
I'm trying so
Oh,
Goodbye.
I fucked up so bad.
Hold on, fire.
Leslie, what did you... Oh my fucking God.
Wait, if I can get rid of this fire, please. Get rid of the fire. No.
I'll
No.
be able to, like...
Nate, no!
Goodbye.
No!
I have a lot of stamina.
See, what I do want to do is go there.
Oh. Leslie has
Okay, guys, direct your attention to my laser pointer. There is a ledge you
Okay.
can squeeze into up here if you climb up it. See the in
I don't
between
think
and the
we can
rocks?
reach that.
You can if you have enough stamina.
What if we make a tower of 3 people and then the one at the very top boosts Nom?
Go.
You,
Oh,
nah,
I
you need
think I
somebody.
have more
You need
stamina.
somebody to boost you.
Okay.
Okay. Wait.
Well,
We need a
actually,
3 tower.
what?
Can you make
Don't jump, Leslie. Let them. What? They're stacking. What?
Yeah, we can stack. We learned this last time with Nom. That's how we survived. That's how Nom lived.
Oh man.
Wait, let me do it.
You gotta jump up to your left. It's right above you.
Oh.
Oh,
I
he
used
makes
so much
it.
stamina. I
Grab
used
your
so much
friend.
stamina.
Grab your homie. Help him. Oh, that's Nom.
Wait.
All you need to do is get up and leap, and then you should be able to get grabbed.
Oh, are you making it? Here, I'll give you a boost.
Okay, hold on, I gotta...
What?
Okay.
Okay, I need to
Gotta get my... Okay, go. Okay.
You got this.
I'm coming!
You can do it.
Oh.
Oh.
I can grab you here.
Alright, I'm coming.
Yeah, you can definitely make it.
I got
Come on, please.
Oh.
Get up here.
We having a moan off?
Maybe.
Let's come on.
Leslie, you're almost at the top. Don't be grass.
You got this.
Alright.
Oh.
We can make this.
Go to the left. There's a ledge on the left. Yeah, there's a path just going up on the left. Yeah, you're balling. You got this. You guys got this. You guys are out, Berg. You know that. Guys, you guys have already won.
To the
Just
left,
need
to
a-
the left.
This is like three-fourths of our first trio. The first one I was up. Poor.
I can't believe I
Only
died with Bing
3/4
Bong.
dead.
I thought there was a ledge there, man. I'm never
Hey,
getting
also,
this Bing Bong.
this is for this is for
Hung
last
up.
time.
True.
Nope.
Oh.
But I grabbed
Launch each other.
Here, I'll
Launch
boost
each other.
you.
That boost was crazy.
Yeah, that was.
That was like that was like an army of 2 ass boost.
There's the sun.
Dude, there's so many ghosts. There's a fucking graveyard floating around, bro.
Ooh.
We're gonna be haunted. We're gonna leave, and then it's gonna be like final destination. We all start dying because we left you guys behind.
No, I learned last time
don't
some
fall
of the
off the
bushes down
bridge.
here at the peak
Don't fall off the
have
bridge.
fruit, so I could have lived with you had I checked.
Personally, if I'm to make a Final
Yeah, right there.
Destination
There's a
movie,
fruit right there.
Yeah.
how would I make him die in the Final Destination? I'm trying to think.
You gotta be creative. You gotta be like, one of them goes
start
wall climbing and
moaning,
they.
and then you lose your breath, and you can't breathe again.
What even is Final Destination?
Just death.
It's just movies about people dying. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's like karma.
That's why whenever somebody says, "Oh, this is some Final
no, it's not like
Destination," that shit, it's because it's like they're dying in crazy ass malicious.
Like, there's no
it's
movie.
there's movies.
there
they're
are.
movies.
Yeah.
But it's just
They're
like
movies.
it's just like
The movies are just like people
Get
dying
up
in
here.
unlucky ass ways. Like imagine like you're just walking and you trip over a cat and you break your neck. That's
You need me crash the fuck out.
Fate. It's like fate. Basically, people
Kinda.
like they were on a plane crash that was supposed to, or they were on a plane that was like gonna crash, but then for
Gonna
some reason
burger.
they didn't get on
Sorry.
the plane, and then the plane crashed and everyone died, and they were supposed to be on it, but then they start dying in crazy ways.
Where's
They
Alto?
they were
Alto's
supposed
biggest
to die, but
struggle,
didn't
getting to the peak of the
originally.
This is where I died last time. Oh, that was hard.
Let's
Okay, I made it.
go, redemption. Let's freaking.
Make sure you actually grab the rope.
We made it.
Do like a Fall Guys sound.
where's the rope?
Oh, it's here, it's here, it's here.
That's a long ass route. Oh god.
Good. You guys saved the city.
Oh my god.
Let's go.
We did it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
One sign
Oh my
fellow made
Oh,
it. My lineage
finally.
lives on.
One blue guy.
Why does it say 4 meters?
Wait, what? Yeah, 4
Dude, this
meters.
is
It says
like
0 meters for me.
It bugs out on
Man.
I don't have
Yeah, it
the
bugs
next.
out for me.
I don't
It's
have
not
the next
advancing.
button.
I don't either.
Me neither.
You may have
No,
to.
well,
That's when we
I'm
find out
supposed
we were
to-
picked up by
I'm
some
supposed
shady
to have
people.
it, but I don't have it.
I mean, it saves, so all F4ing is okay if need be.
There's no next button because we were picked up by the cartel helicopter. We're not going home.
Whoa.
We were better off dying with everyone else.
That's scary.
Guys, F12. Oh my God, Steam screenshot.
Screenshot. We made it.
You peaked.
Pig.
Yesterday it worked.
Okay, here's the glitch out too.
We're using the mod?
Yeah. I'm supposed to have a thingy to make me go next. Ah. Okay. This might be an Alto 4.
It's really immersive.
Very.
It's like being on an actual helicopter.
I hear the
Full distance in time.
I hear the thing. Maybe that's people leaving.
Yeah, I think it is.
Ah, okay.
Hello.
We alt F for the game. Let me see if I can just get my Discord up.
Hour. And Volcanic has the mod, so.
We're seeing what's gonna happen in the Discord.
I was about to hop off after this climb.
Yeah.
Me as well.
Okay. Well, it was fun playing with you guys. It was nice meeting you, Nate.
Nice meeting you too.
Just me, huh?
Yeah, super cool.
Hey, I like all of
Sorry I
y'all.
had to watch you die.
Yeah.
Yes.